Hello all. Here are 10 top core Java interview questions with different topics along with their answers. So there will be question to be asked and the answers will be given on those top few interview questions on core Java. So here we are. So first question, what is the difference between double equals and equals in Java? The answer is double equals checks if two reference variables refer to the same object in memory. So it is always with the memory to be checked. Okay, and equals, the equals bracket, that method, equals method, it is equals method is a method in the object class used to compare the contents of two objects for equality. So it checks the contents, so it checks the values of those two objects. Okay, cool. Just for an example I'll give you, suppose one string is string s1 equals to new string of hello, another string s2 equals new string of hello. So there are both strings hello, right? And we are creating the object of string s1 and s2. Now if we sys out system.out.println s1 double equals s2, what is the result? And if we do system.out.println s1 dot equals s2, so it's a method. So what is the value here? What is the output? So first one, s1 double equal s2, it is always false, right? Because it is not in the same memory, it is both are different objects, so it contains different memory location, right? So it is giving false. And where s1 dot equals s2, there it is returning as true because the content is same here, the content is hello. Cool. Now here we go to the next question. What is the purpose of the final keyword in Java? Answer: the final keyword in Java is used to define constants. It can be used with variables, methods, and classes. So final variable, what is it? Final variable's value cannot be changed once initialized. Final method. Final method cannot be overridden by subclasses. And final class, it cannot be subclassed. Okay, so these are the three different final ways we write. Okay, here we go to the third question. Explain the concept of inheritance and how it is implemented in Java. Here is the answer. Inheritance is a mechanism where one class acquires the properties and behaviors of another class. It allows for hierarchical classification. In Java, inheritance is implemented using the extends keyword, right? Just for an example, like one class animal we have written, inside that one method we can write eat. Okay, and we can extend from different classes like dog, cat, which extends animal, and it will be same, everybody eats, right? So it will be the same. But if we see the if the barking of there are sounds, right, those are different, so those we can implement in their own classes like under cat, dog, and all, right? Fourth question, what are abstract classes and interfaces? How are they different? Here is the answer. Abstract class, a class that cannot be instantiated and may contain abstract methods. What is abstract method? Methods without implementation. As well as abstract class holds concrete methods as well. Cool. Here is the example, like if we write abstract class animal and there is abstract method as sound, because each animal sounds different, right? Their barking is different, but it is same, right? So it can be a implemented method under the abstract class and everybody eats food. Okay, now interface, a reference type in Java. It is similar to class and is a collection of abstract methods. A class can implement multiple interfaces. Okay, so we know that a class cannot extend multiple classes, but can be implemented with multiple interfaces. Okay, now differences. What are the differences between these two? Abstract classes can have constructors, methods for implementation, and state fields, which are called fields, means state, whereas interfaces cannot. So but we know that before Java 8 interfaces cannot have methods of implementation, but now we can have default methods, static methods and all, right, under the interfaces after Java 8. Okay, and another key differences is a class can extend only one abstract class but can implement multiple interfaces, which one we are talking about just before some time. Now here is the fifth question. What is the significance of the static keyword in Java? Here is the answer. The static keyword indicates that the member belongs to the class itself rather than to any specific instance of the class. Static variables, like, what is static variables? It is shared among all instances of a class. What is static methods? Can be called without creating an instance of the class. And what is static blocks? Used for static initializations of a class. Here is again I am talking on these three. One is the static variables, then static methods and static blocks. What is static variables? Shared among all instances of a class. Static methods can be called without creating an instance of the class. Static blocks used for static initializations of a class. Okay, so just an example, if we write an example class, right, under that we can write static int count 0, right, that's a static variable. Okay, static method, like under the example class I can write static void increment, under that I can write count plus plus, right. So static void increment method, that's a static method which can be called without creating the instance of the class. Okay, and static blocks, so we can write a static, under that only we can write the body of some code lines we can write there, right. Cool. Now here is the sixth question. Explain method overloading and method overriding with examples. Answer. Method overloading. Multiple methods in the same class have the same name but different parameters. You got it, right? So again I will tell, multiple methods in the same class have the same name but different parameters. Example, so I'm writing a class math utils. Under the math utils I am writing two methods like int add, where parameters are int a and int b. Okay, and there is the another method double add, where double a and double b are parameters. So here you can see add, right, both methods are different, I mean same name but parameters are different. So in the runtime you can send the value accordingly, it will be called. Like if you send at runtime double values, it will call the double add method. Okay, cool. Now method overriding. A subclass provides a specific implementation for a method already defined in its superclass. Again, a subclass provides a specific implementation for a method already defined in its superclass. Example, so there is a class animal void sound, there is a method. Okay, now I am writing another class dog which extends animal class. Now I can override the sound method because in dog the sound is different, right? So that I can override that sounds method, we are overriding to the dog class and we are writing our own implementation under that sound method. Cool. Now we are going to seventh question. What is the difference between array list and linked list in Java? Array list implements the list interface and it's based on a dynamic array. It allows fast random access but slower insertions and deletions as elements have to be shifted. So access wise it is pretty fast, but insertion and deletion wise it is slow, right? And linked list. Linked list implements the list interface and dequeue interface and is based on a doubly linked list. It allows faster insertions and deletions but slower random access. So access wise it is slow, but insertion and deletion wise it is faster than a list. Now here is the 8th question. What is garbage collection in Java? How does it work? Garbage collection in Java is the process of automatically reclaiming memory by destroying objects that are no longer in use. The JVM has a garbage collector that tracks objects and removes those that are no longer reachable in the application. So that means when an object has done its task and where there is no reference, then that can be garbage collected. That is no use, right? So that's not reachable now in the application, so it can be removed by the garbage collection. Cool. Now here is the 9th question. What are the different types of exceptions in Java? Exceptions in Java are divided into 2 categories: checked exceptions and unchecked exceptions. Checked exceptions, subclasses of exception, but excluding runtime exceptions. Okay, so checked is because it is compile time, okay, which is subclass of exception. They must be either caught or declared in the method signature using throws. Remember it, all checked exceptions must be either caught or declared in the method signature using throws. Okay, and unchecked exceptions. Unchecked exceptions, subclasses of runtime exception. They do not need to be declared or caught, because if there is some issues in the unchecked exceptions, so that means there is some issue in the code, so you need to fix the code. Okay, but in the checked exceptions, this might come due to some issue in the infra or right, or in the IO operations, right? So it should be handled and proper message should be delivered to the client side, right? Like IO exceptions, right? So that's one kind of checked exceptions. And unchecked exceptions like array index out of bounds exceptions. Okay, so those should be properly defined in the code itself, okay, so that it will not throw that kind of exception. Now here is the 10th question. Explain the concept of multithreading in Java. How do you create a thread? Multithreading is a process. Okay, this is the answer. Multithreading is a process of executing multiple threads simultaneously to maximize CPU utilization. Okay, in Java there are 2 ways to create a thread. One is by extending the thread class. Second is by implementing the runnable interface. Okay, so what is the meaning of extending the thread class? It's very simple. We know the inheritance, right? Similarly, so if we write class my thread extends thread, I am extending the thread class. Now I can write the void run method under that. So the signature is always should be public void run. Under that you write your own thread codes, okay, whichever you want to write, and to execute it you have to just create the object of my thread, like my thread t1 equals to new my thread and t1 dot start. That's all. Yeah, boom. So that's the way to extending the thread class, right? So you are extending the thread class mainly, right? Now by implementing the runnable interface, class my runnable, I am writing a class, okay, class my runnable implements runnable. Now under that I am just overriding same way public void run method. Under that I am writing the code of thread, what the thread should do, right? And the to call the thread, it's a little different only, like thread t1 equals to new thread, or and under that thread method you have to pass the class you are writing, that new my runnable, and t1 dot start. That's all, right? So these are the two ways you are writing, you are creating threads. Okay, thank you. That's the 10 most asked interview questions from core Java. Bye bye.